Good evening and welcome. This is a meeting of the Special Education Advisory Committee of the Halton District School Board for Tuesday, the 6th of February 2024. In accordance with Ontario Regulation 463-97 and guidelines effective February the 1st, 2021, HDSB promotes community engagement and participation by having processes in place for members of the public to ask questions. A Google form was attached to the agenda, distributed in advance of the meeting, and is also posted on the HDSB SEAC website page. Questions posed during live-streamed meetings of SEAC may be answered during that meeting, particularly those related to agenda items, or at the following meeting at the discretion of the chair. For efficiency, multiple questions received that are similar in nature may be grouped together at the discretion of the chair and/or vice chair. Questions will not be attributed. Notation will be made that multiple people ask the same question. Any questions that contain language that is hateful or discriminatory will not be considered. So first we'll start with a roll call to record who's in attendance. Please could you answer yes or present? Association for Bright Children, Kate Lambacher.
Present.
Sarika Kanithi. Nope. Okay. Autism Ontario, Amanda Winch. Nope. Jennifer Laguerre.
Present.
Okay. Centre for Diverse Learners, Diane Vandenbosch. Nope. I'm present, Alison Brindle. Community Living Burlington, we have Nadina Torek.
Present.
Great. Community Living North Halton, Angel Zuzik.
So Angel is the alternative
Okay.
for me, but I'm here. Evelyn Bercy.
Okay, Evelyn, you're here. Great. Easter Seals, Sarah Lansley. I think she sent regrets. Okay. And Melissa Dockery.
I'm here. Hello.
Great. Halton Down Syndrome, Sophia Siddiqui. Nope. And we're welcoming tonight from OPVIC, the Ontario Parents of Visually Impaired Children, Erin, and that let me correct the last name, Rupel?
Rupel.
Rupel.
And yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Erin, welcome.
Thanks.
From Voice, Erin Sproul.
Present.
And Catherine Turner.
Present.
Great. Our members at large, Kaiser Claassen? No. And we have regrets from Katie Schleifer. For our trustees, we have potentially Naveed Ahmed. No. Carol Baxter. No. Joanna Oliver. And Jin Yi Zhang. And please,
yes.
please tell me how to pronounce that correctly.
Xin Yizhang.
Xin Yizhang. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. We have Colette Ruddock.
Good evening.
Conan Spruan.
Good evening.
And we have Kevin on the tech. And we have Laura.
Yes.
Thank you. And I know we have a great array of school board staff who are going to present, and we'll get to them at the time, and as well as guests from Canchild. Is there anybody I've missed? Jennifer Laguerre. Jennifer, did you want to?
Oh, apologies.
Okay, don't worry
the wrong
about
button.
it.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right.
Amanda is hoping to be let in. She has just arrived now.
Okay, great. And perhaps Laura can
Thank you.
take care of that. That's great. So first of all, we'll begin by honouring the land. Halton, as we know it today, is rich in history and modern traditions of many First Nations and the Métis. From the Anishinaabe to the Atawandurun, the Haudenosaunee and the Métis, these lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in Indigenous history. As we gather today on these treaty lands, we have the responsibility to honour and respect the four directions: land, waters, plants, animals, ancestors that walked before us, and all the wonderful elements of creation that exist. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation for sharing their traditional territory with us. So the first item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any modifications or amendments that need to be made? If so, could you either raise your hand or raise a hand in the chat, please? Okay, would anybody like to move a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move.
Great, that's great. That's Erin, please. Erin Sproul. Anybody like to second?
I can.
So is that Catherine?
Yes, it is.
Great, thank you, Catherine Turner. And does anybody have any objections to the agenda? Any opposition to the agenda as it now stands? If you could make yourself known. Okay, none being seen, the agenda is approved unanimously. Next is the approval of our January the 9th, 2024 meeting minutes. Are there any errors or omissions? Okay, would anybody like to move a motion to approve the minutes?
I will, Jennifer Laguerre.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. And somebody to second? Is that Melissa? Melissa Dockery?
Yes, I'll second.
Great, thank you very much, Melissa. And again, if it's any opposition to the minutes as recorded, please could you make yourselves known? Okay, none being seen, the January the 9th meeting minutes are approved unanimously. So now we're going to get on to the fun part of our agenda. We'll get to the action items. And tonight we're very lucky to have a presentation from CanChild on their program F Words for Child Development. So I'd like to welcome CanChild. And Alice, are you leading this? And perhaps you can introduce the team.
Yes, thank you. So first of all, we are really grateful to have the opportunity to be here today and to share about the efforts for child development and how they are and can be used in the school setting. So I'll start by introducing myself and then my colleagues that are here. So my name is Alice Soper, and I'm currently a PhD student at McMaster University. And I've also been a research assistant at CanChild since 2018. Daniela Grahovic is a parent partner. She's a mother of a young man with cerebral palsy, and she is a technical support specialist at CanChild. Vanessa Thomas is a postdoctoral researcher at CanChild. She's working with two family health organizations that include the Children's Treatment Network in Ontario, and in Manitoba, she's working with the Rehabilitation Center for Children. And Vanessa also teaches in the School of Rehabilitation Sciences at McMaster University. And then finally, we have Ali Minuk, who is a PhD student at the Faculty of Education. She's studying professional learning as it pertains to special education. She is a formal special education teacher, an instructor in the Bachelor of Education and Continuing Teacher Education programs. And she's a project manager of the Autism and Developmental Disabilities Education Research Group. And if that wasn't enough, she is also now a research assistant at CanChild. So today's focus is on an introduction to the F Words for Child Development and to explore how they can be used to support inclusion in schools. So some of you may be familiar with the F words or completely new. So we're going to start with a background about how they came to be and what they are. So the efforts ideas were published as a review article in 2012 by doctors Peter Rosenbaum and Jan Willem Gorder. And the authors are both developmental pediatricians and professors of pediatrics at McMaster University. Now, they like to joke a bit about how the paper was, a tongue-in-cheek, fun idea at the time, but it has a very important message about child development. And that is that the efforts provide a family-centered, strengths-based, and holistic approach to all child health and development. And the efforts are evidence-based, and they're grounded in 2 decades of childhood disability research. Now, the efforts have since been embraced, they've been adopted, they've been championed around the world. And the paper, or the efforts ideas, have had huge uptake, as you can see by the big numbers.
Alice, sorry to interrupt. We don't have the slides being shared right now. So just wondering if that would be helpful to, just so people can see that. And I was trying to share.
That would probably be helpful.
I've never shared on Google Meet, if I can be totally transparent. And I don't see an option for sharing my PowerPoint. However, maybe I can open it up on my...
Vanessa, I do have it as well if it would help for me to share.
Okay, yes,
That's
amazing.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks,
yeah,
Evelyn.
Thank you.
No problem. Give me one moment.
Sure, thank you.
Otherwise, I can open it up on my Chrome and the OneDrive and see if we can share through that, because I don't see the option for my actual PowerPoint.
Well, I can sort of describe what's going on the screen, but essentially there's just a bunch of big numbers, like numbers of downloads and citations of the paper that just demonstrate the uptake of the efforts and how far we've come since 2012.
Thank you so much, Evelyn.
No problem. Just give me a cue of when I should change the slide, and I'll just do that for you guys in the background here.
Thank you. So next slide, please.
Sorry, I was trying. For some reason, it's not moving. Give me one moment.
And one more. There we go. So one back. Yeah, so there are the big numbers I'm talking about. Again, we like to boast about these big numbers on behalf of the authors, who are far too humble to share them in that way. But anyway, that's what the uptake looks like since 2012. So on the next slide, we have the 6 F words. They conveniently all begin with an F, so it's easier to remember after the presentation. The first one is family, and that refers to that essential environment within which all children grow and develop. Then there's fun. That includes activities that children are involved in or that they enjoy doing. Friends is about friendships that are established with peers. And we all know that social development is an essential aspect of childhood and personhood overall. And then there's functioning. So that refers to what people do. And we want to emphasize that it's not about how things are done that is important. It's about enabling functioning. And synonyms would include things like roles, jobs, tasks. For children, that would be play as their work. Then we have fitness, so how children stay physically active, including exercise and other recreational opportunities. And then the 6th word is future. And really, future is what child development is all about, because children are growing, they're developing, they're changing over time. And so you can think about future with regards to parents and children's expectations and their goals and their dreams for their future. So on the next slide, perfect. So on this slide, you can see and this is where I want to go back to when I mentioned how the efforts are evidence-based, because they are grounded in the World Health Organization's framework for health, which is called the International Classification for Functioning, Disability, and Health. And so this slide demonstrates where the efforts are embedded onto the framework, which is really a way of bringing that framework to life. So as an example, family, you can see, is embedded onto environmental factors. As I had mentioned before, it's around the idea that family is that environment within which children grow up and develop. So on the next slide. So we want to think now about, why the F words in schools. And we've seen a lot of uptake, and it's mostly been by healthcare providers who work with families, but there has been an increasing uptake in schools, and some of that has also been quite organic. But we see how and why the F words should fit into school. And some of that includes how the F words are really a way to promote inclusive education and have a positive impact on students and families. They are applicable across classroom types and all ages. And we have a handful of F words tools and resources that we'll be sharing a bit later in the presentation. But these are tools that can be used in the classroom. They could be used tomorrow. So it's an example, again, of how these ideas, the F words ideas, can actually be used in practice. So I'm going to hand it over now to Daniela so that she can share her perspective and her experiences using the F words tools in her son's school. So I'll hand it over to you, Daniela.
Thank you, Alice. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Daniela, and I'm a parent of a mom of Vasilia, and he's now 21. So we are basically done school. Like that happened, last year in June. So can you just, next slide, please? Yeah. So there is Vasilia, but yeah, he was a little bit younger there, but that's fine. So the school was, challenging, really, for us, because Vasilia has a lot of needs, you can tell. Like, read his chart, his diagnosis and everything. He has a cerebral palsy. Everything is on a level 5, so he cannot walk, talk, use his hands. He needs assistance 24/7. So in IEP, he usually needs 2 people to work with him, right? And by that, when you look into, he probably cannot do anything, right? But that's really not the case. Vasily is done, and he's just listening to me beside here, and he's laughing with me because he done so many things that, I can talk to you whole night, but I won't. Anyway, why I'm so passionate about school, because the school experience for us became, amazing as soon as I applied F words. And that happened a long time ago because I was fortunate to be, Vasilia's doctor was actually Dr. Gorter, who was a co-author on this paper, and he sent me this paper, as soon as it was up. And then, I was like, wow, this is the language that I'm supposed to talk, with people. And it's not only that I noticed the change in, how they deal with Vasilia, but also all other children saw benefits because the team learned how to, it's not like an extra effort. It's not like more resources. It's nothing like that. It's just a quality of time and seeing the full picture of Vasilia, who he is and what he likes, and to succeed there, right? So just next slide, please. So how I started that, you see there is a poster that I printed out from the website, and you can go on a CanChild website and download all these awesome tools. I asked the teachers to put in Vasilia's rooms, like the classroom, and into resource room. So that started to raise an awareness of what F words are. And then I came to the IEP meeting with ready tools for him. So I prepare a collage, you can see here, and there was a profile. And later we did a goal sheet, what we want to do with Vasilia. And I just talked about who Vasilia is. And in these 6 pictures, you can tell, okay, well, he likes to play soccer in his walker. And, you know, for the family, there is grandpa and grandma involved, and he's going horseback riding. He likes swimming. And you see these friends, those are his school friends. And you know what is his goal? He wants to be successful in school, right? He wants to graduate and to do all these tests. And he was so happy when you know, he will come home with a test that is like over 80%, and he will brag about that. But we manage, you know, with this kind of approach, we actually manage to accomplish that, right? So it was really an awesome experience. The school became like a second home for us. Okay, next slide, please. And yeah, as I said, there is more tools. So Efforts Collage is something that you can download and fill it in right there. And it is fillable, and then there is a profile. But agreement, for example, is something that I handed over to his, well, I would say service providers. Even, you know, everybody who works with my son are providing some kind of service for him. And just it looks like some kind of pact that we made when I handed over, right? Like, okay, we will play this by efforts, okay? And then you can learn about them there. Also, there is you can see, you know, the QR code that you can scan and see all awesome tools. Okay, next slide, please. So yes, and then that was me. Okay, I know it's you know, I tried every possible you know, possible behavior. I was nice. I was mama bear. I was T-Rex dressed nicely. I did all this stuff, but you know, at the end of the day, it was just draining my energy. And then, you know, when I applied these efforts to school, and you know, everybody learned about how Vasily is an awesome a young man. Then the Ken Child asked me to put together that advocacy guide. This is a letter here, but this is just an example. But there is 3 different tools in that on that web page where you can actually see how to you know, present and which tools to use for specifically IEP meetings and, you know, in a school settings. So next slide, please. Yeah, goal sheet is also something that, like, it is a really, well, neat tool because it will tell you, okay, my son's goal is to, you know, like, let me see, it was he wanted to graduate, for example. But why? That's important. That will fulfill the picture of why is that important to him, right? But he wanted to be included. Basically, that was all the way. That was our goal, to be included as much as possible. Okay, and of course you can just you can do the goal sheet different way. You see, somebody was creative there, right? Okay, next slide. Yeah, there is also like that's like tip sheet or however you call it. You can use these printed out just quickly to learn about efforts, and there is links and everything that you need to know about it. So maybe hand it over to a teachers, just, you know, as a resource. It is a good thing. You can download this on a website as well. And next slide. And I think this is Vanessa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniela. All right. So now we're just going to chat a little bit about, so Alice did such a great job at introducing the F words. Daniela sharing some examples from her perspective as a parent and use with her son Vasilier within schools. And even just from Daniela's story, you can hear that the impact that can have at the family level, at the student level, child level, and also trickle effect for other students within that classroom. And I think this is a beautiful example of that. And this is an example through the Georgian Bay Community School and the Blue Water District School Board in a grade 4 classroom where one of the teachers had the students complete that F-worded goal sheet that Daniela shared as an activity. And if we go to the next slide, please, Evelyn. They then posted this up on the classroom school board, and so that everyone could take a look at each other's goals. The teachers even did it, or the teacher did it as well. So as a way for each student to reflect on their goals, why they're important, to learn a little bit more about each other, and then the teacher to learn a little bit more about all the different students and their specific goals related to the F words. And again, this is an activity that is suitable for all students. And I think that's a really beautiful example. And part of that is that the F words really do apply to everybody, regardless of your age, if you have a diagnosis, specific needs, or requests within the school system. And it really is such a flexible, universal tool and approach. So if we go to the next slide, thank you. Another example of this is from British Columbia in the Sunshine Coast. And I always forget her title, so I wrote it down here. Her name is Kirsten Deasy. She's the District Principal of Learning and Innovation from the Sunshine Coast. And another beautiful part about the F words is really they can be applied in such flexible ways. And like that example Daniela shared with using art or photos to talk about F words related goals, this example showed how they incorporated F words into a wonderful Me document as an entry to kindergarten type tool. So you can see the different F words illustrated there and how they've adapted it and tweaked it to meet the needs of their program. And if we go to the next slide, Evelyn. Again, you can see how they have put this up on a wall so that everyone can meet the incoming new kindergarten friends. And an interesting part of this, and this particular tool that they did, and also other tools that we have, is again speaking to that creative way to apply the ideas. So you can draw, you can see one of the kids drew a little bit of an image there. We can also see that, you know, it can be used as an activity to support even things like writing, drawing, creative expression, allowing students to really self-reflect on these different aspects and get to meet each other, learn more about each other, and a great way for the educators or the education team to also learn more about each student. And now we're just going to share some examples that we've seen embedded into other types of documents in the Kingston area, who we've been working closely with an organization called Kids Inclusive, and they have different special needs steering committees that work with the school boards. And so the F words are very much embedded in the services at Kids Inclusive and through the coordinated service planning program. And through that has led to this interest and uptake, and like Alice said, very organically into different school boards and embedded within their documents. So in the Limestone District School Board, we can see an example here with the transition to kindergarten. And at the very bottom, you can see the student profile grounded in the F words. They also have an All About Me, again, a nice introductory document to learn more about that child who's part of their family or that student, and provide that transition to kindergarten or entry to kindergarten support. Thank you. Another example here is from the Upper Canada District School Board, where the F words are used when introducing coordinated service planning to families and schools at the single plan of care or SPOC meetings. And so you can see two examples. So within their IEP system and a digital binder that they've created for special education teachers. So for example, they have 3 transition goals within the IEP system that are grounded in the F words. So you can see the F words are embedded into the SPOC goals. that the collage that's co-created by students and families, and it's shared with the SPOC team or single plan of care team, and that the F words are incorporated into current IEP goals. So that is like a beautiful gold standard example. And then they also have a digital binder that has F words resources, and to remind and motivate teams to have discussions grounded in the F words, and really to house those F words documents so that others within the team are able to see that as well, and it's shared amongst the group. So all these tools, we merely scratched the surface. There's so many resources and tools that are all available on the F Words Knowledge Hub. So we have the link there as well as a QR code where you can access all the things we're talking about today. In addition, we have videos, webinars, examples of how organizations are using the F Words in practice. And then if we go to the next slide, we also have a recently launched, publicly launched Beyond Ontario now too, is our F Words online training program. So this is a free online training course, self-paced, for people to access, whenever they want, and work through and learn a little bit more about the F words and be introduced to different examples of their use internationally, different tools that have been created, and hearing, I think the most important part of it is hearing those family stories and how these ideas can have that impact on services, for example, within schools. And I'm going to pause for a second to see if Evelyn and Nadina want to share anything based on your reflections in Halton. And we've had the privilege of working with them really closely over the past several years related to the implementation of the F words within the Halton area. So I don't know if you want to share anything from your reflections. And yeah.
Thanks, Vanessa. Yes, so first of all, thank you all for that presentation. That was really a lovely snippet. Like you said, you brushed the surface, but it was really a wonderful introduction. Just for SEAC members, if you can recall, last June, Nadina and I presented the Halton Inclusion Services model, in which each of us manage in our respective agencies. So as reps of SEAC, we wanted to give an overview of our services. So just to remind everybody, Inclusion Services in Halton region provides consultation and special needs resourcing, essentially, to licensed childcare to support children identified at risk for developmental challenges. We also work closely with Halton Region Child Development Services, the OTs, and the developmental consultants there. So all those disciplines have been, over the last several years, along with CAN Child's guidance and support, we've been working on a project to embed the F words into our services. So we touched on it briefly last June, but we can speak a little bit about how effective we have found the use of the F words in our work, right from intake all the way through to building up goals, developing the family service plan, working with educators in the classroom, and then as we discharge and sort of transition to other services and actually the school board. So I think more recently we're excited because last year, Sharon, who I believe is on the call tonight, Sharon Langman, and her other colleague, Audrey Dreisma, we worked closely to develop sort of a F words embedded transition to kindergarten process. Using your school board documentation, our resource consultants work closely with families in our caseload of children going to school in September to gather information around resources and needs for each child respectively. But what we did differently last year and what we're doing ongoingly now is we're doing that work effectively with the F words. And so in our work over the last several years, and Adina, you can speak to this as well if you would like to, if I'm missing anything, but essentially we've noticed much more a stronger approach in a family-centered way, as well as a much more strength-based approach. We find that using the F words, and we've heard this from families, really shifts that narrative of, typically, unfortunately, there's a reality to the services that we deliver and the resources that happen to be, deficit-based, but families do come into service feeling like they have to tell you everything that's not going well for them or their child to advocate for what they need. And that tends to be how the conversation starts. And understandably, we want to hear that, and everybody wants to be able to share that. But what the F words has done is shifted the conversation to one in which parents can talk about their child and their family with a sense of delight and a sense of esteem, perhaps, and even in a way of being able to share strengths and needs that allows those conversations to be productive and move in a direction that needs to be made, but also allows that family and that child to be celebrated in a way that perhaps our system often fails to do. And so we have really found that to be effective in our work. We've worked closely with, again, Vanessa as our lead, but the CanChild team in general to evaluate the work in Halton. And we've just been learning our outcomes. So we're pretty excited about the work. And we're at the stage right now of learning how we can do more and expand the efforts even further to other community partners. So it's really fitting that Vanessa and the CanChild team were here tonight. Nadina, if there's anything else you want to add in terms of the work with the F-word so far in our work in early learning and childcare and with families, please feel free to add in. But that's essentially where we're at.
I think you've done an amazing job covering it all. The only thing that we still continue to do, along with filling out those forms for the school board, is also with the transition. So when we're doing service coordination meetings and when we're doing transition meetings, we are encouraging all our families. So we have these profiles that we've created that we complete throughout service with our families that gets attached to our family plans. But we're also encouraging and updating them right before that transition meeting with the school to encourage all families to come to that meeting prepared to talk about their child using that F-words profile as well. So that's something, and it's something that we're also including in our summary of involvements, that we're attaching those as well. So you're going to get the summary of involvement, all the certain things that we have done with the child, all the things that need to be in place, all the things that would be beneficial. But here's this additional little thing where the educators that the child is going into their classroom can have this amazing form where they're talking about what the child's strengths are as well.
All right, I'm going to go back and share my screen so we can get to the discussion. I realize that time is limited. So go ahead, Vanessa, if you want to.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that was brilliant. Thank you for sharing that from the Halton perspective. Really appreciate that. This was the last slide, so we're good. I think we just wanted to share and pause our contact information. If you would like to connect, being cognizant that we know we're kind of just dropping in a little bit of time. So if you do want to connect after this call, we have our email there. We also have a Facebook group, an Instagram group, where we're sharing different ways that the F-words are being used in different contexts and settings. But also maybe if we want to open it up, I know we're short on time. We went a little bit long, so I apologize. But if there's any questions, if not, then feel free to email us, please. We're happy to connect, and we're so thankful for the invitation to be here today and starting to talk to individuals like yourself.
Great. Well, thank you so much for a very, very interesting presentation. That was really very, very helpful. Is there anybody who would like to ask any questions?
So I just want to add, in terms of Nadina and I and our work with the F-words in Halton so far, I'm not sure if any other agencies are actively engaging with this work yet in their services, but if anyone is on this journey or is considering this journey in their service delivery, or in any capacity, Nadina and I just wanted to be able to share that we are open and willing to connect with people and share our experiences, and we can reach out to us if you'd like.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Well, not seeing any questions. I think it was a great presentation with a lot of valuable information. And I love the fact that you've got so many downloads and things that are available for us to take a look at our own time. So thank you for doing that. That being said, I want to wish you a lovely evening, the CanChild team, and we will move on to our next agenda item. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Nadina, did you raise your hand?
Sorry, that was an error.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is we're going to be welcoming the Halton District School Board's Deaf and Hard of Hearing team to provide us with a presentation of their work. So welcome.
Thank you. I'll take a moment to share my screen here. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Halton District School Board Deaf Hard of Hearing Team Department, our presentation tonight for you. So my name is Hannah Lai, and I am one of 6 itinerant resource teachers for students who are deaf and hard of hearing in our board. And I'll open us up by introducing our team members. So alongside me, we have Chris Kelly, Lisa Montilla, Rachel Morash, Elizabeth Ogletree, and Sarah Wilson, who make up the team of itinerant resource teachers. And we also have Sharon Langman, who I think is here with us tonight, and she is our instructional program lead, and she is a great support for our team as well. We also have 2 itinerant educational assistants who work and to support our students as well, Janina and Sarah Oliver there. And we also have the privilege of working with our board contracted education audiologist, Susan Russell, who is a great support to our students on the technology side. So within our team, we hold a variety of additional qualifications, including the special education part 1 through specialist qualifications, teaching students with communication needs, autism spectrum disorder, teaching English language learners, math, drama, reading, and principal qualifications, listening and spoken language specialist certifications in auditory verbal therapy, ASL interpreter qualifications, as well as Masters of Education degrees in deaf education. So those are the different qualifications that our team holds. And right now, I will pass it off to my colleague Lisa, who will describe our support.
Thanks, Hannah. My name is Lisa Montilla, and I'm going to share a little bit about what our support might look like in the board. So we support students in all learning environments, from transitioning into JK through the secondary pathways. Our work focuses on accessibility and self-advocacy to support student success in the classroom. Currently, we support 290 students in 98 schools, ranging from JK to age 21. In terms of accessing our support, when a family provides an audiogram or information about their child's hearing to the school reaches out to our team or their instructional program leader, and that initiates opportunities for services and support. We support students in many different ways. Direct support is often one-to-one in an alternate location to provide increased access for the student. Consultation and monitoring is provided for students through collaboration with classroom teachers, special education resource teachers, and other board service providers. We also support and manage accessibility equipment, such as remote microphone systems, speaker systems, cords and cables compatible to personal amplification equipment, and for students with auditory processing disorders. We also support special education services department initiatives. On this slide is a chart that shows the different areas we might support depending on student need. Support may be weekly, monthly, once a semester, or consultative. We have opportunities to provide pull-out one-to-one support to develop and work on various skills, which may include auditory skills, language, and advocacy, as well as opportunities for push-in or in-class support in regards to accessibility within the classroom or generalization of skills beyond the one-to-one learning environment with us. Decisions around support are individualized based on many factors and might include hearing, personal amplification, school and team consultation, student-specific strengths and needs, considerations of functional listening in the classroom environment, accessibility to instruction, and student advocacy. And I can pass it on to Sarah.
Hello, my name is Sarah Wilson. So as mentioned earlier in our presentation, our team also includes 2 deaf and hard of hearing educational assistants. These EAs support our students by providing in-class support under the direction of the school admin, special education resource teachers, and classroom teachers. They're familiar with the amplification equipment and help support its usage in the classroom. They also support access to curriculum teaching, as well as peer responses and social conversations. They help clarify concepts, instructions, and vocabulary, and support and encourage self-advocacy skills. So the students that we support include a range of diverse learners, each with unique learning profiles and exceptionalities. So I'm just going to list off a few of the students that we service. So these diverse learners include students with varying degrees of hearing loss, students with additional exceptionalities, and deafblind students who sometimes share support with blind, low vision, itinerant resource teachers, students in self-contained or specialized programs such as life skills and the community pathway programs, as well as specialized elementary programs like HELP and Alpha. The students transitioning into elementary schools, to and from provincial schools, to post-secondary programs, and to the workplace. And finally, students requiring access to remote microphones for auditory processing disorders. I'll pass you off.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Ogletree. So much time and support is spent on developing communication and confidence and advocacy. And these are some examples of opportunities that students have participated in based on both their own skill development and their individual interests. So we've done pen pals with emails between students in different schools and across our different caseloads. Rehearsed I statements are student developed and worked on quick and confident sentences when they're asked things like, what are those? Why do you have them? In reference to their personal amplification, so their hearing aids or cochlear implants. So the students have a quick and easy response. Class presentations, so either they're student-led or sometimes teacher of the deaf-led, but the students are usually involved with the creation of the presentation, choosing of materials, choosing of experiences, and different things. And then we present to the classes. Advocacy packets. So they work with the student to create an email to secondary teachers around their specific accommodations, their strategies, their equipment and support, and then also developing post-secondary packets. So investigating and looking at the things that the students are able to ask for from colleges and universities, or things that they should put together when they're doing admissions conversations for secondary pathways from the student services departments. And then get-togethers. So we've been using Google Meet to have students get together, either with same age peers or older and younger, and sometimes playing games, sometimes just chatting. But that has kind of been a carryover from the COVID days, and it allows us to get students together who may not otherwise have another student in their school who is sharing their same experience. And some schools who have multiple students in them, we're able to get them all together to play games or just interact as well. So in terms of building capacity within the board and within schools, we participate in several professional development opportunities. So we have a deaf and hard of hearing online training module and materials that are available to all staff on the employee board site. We do presentations for the educational assistants within Halton District School Board, and then classroom and school presentations. And this often looks like either getting classroom teachers and special education resource teachers together at a school. Secondary, it can look like meeting with the secondary teachers for that semester. And sometimes it is school-wide presentations on professional development days. And then participating within board PD and meetings like CERT networking or other opportunities when the special education services group is putting on professional development or having meetings. And I'll pass it off to Rachel.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I'm Rachel Morash. In terms of assistive devices, we manage the equipment and devices that are recommended by the board contracted educational audiologists to help ensure greater accessibility to the listening that's happening in the classroom. We have working knowledge of various types of options with new and changing technology. There are remote microphone options that are specific to students' hearing aids or cochlear implants. And we're on top of ongoing changes and updates with connectivity to computers, phones, speakers, and sourcing accessories to support individual students. We have strong relationships within our local community and beyond. York University is the only provider of the specialist qualification for the teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing program here in Ontario right now. It is a 1-year full-time or 3-year part-time program for teachers, and it requires 2 practicum placements. Our team hosts mentor teachers from this program annually to bolster the quality of experience that they receive in the program. We have relationships with community audiologists and audiology clinics to best support our students, as well as the Sick Kids Cochlear Implant Program and their audiology department. We also have access to a wealth of materials and resources and personnel to enhance our teaching practices. We have professional opportunities and platforms like Voice and Bob Rumble and EC Jury Provincial School that provide avenues for collaboration, information sharing, and participation in community events and activities. And this is the sort of the wrap up of our presentation. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to our deaf and hard of hearing team and for recognizing the importance of the work that we do. We really do appreciate your support and willingness to learn more about serving this population of students. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Great, thank you very much for that presentation. It was very helpful. And I see we already have 2 questions. So Catherine Turner, let's start with you.
It's not really a question, so I'm hoping not speaking for it with Aaron, but I just want to say on behalf of Voice for All that you do for our students and even our own kids. I think that's it. Because for all of this would be my last SEAC meeting representing Voice, because I'll be moving out of province at the end of the month. So I just want to thank you on behalf of my son Cole Turner. You may know him. So I just want to thank you so much for everything you do. And it was a wonderful presentation. So thank you.
That's lovely. Thank you. And there was another hand up. Was that Kate?
Yes. Thank you. I have some questions. So first of all, I want to say that I am thrilled that you are getting these kids together with the virtual meets. I think that it is a wonderful thing. And if the pandemic gifted us that, then fantastic. I'm glad to hear good things come out of it. A question about children who work primarily in ASL or, fully in ASL. Are they integrated into the regular classroom, only self-contained, or do they need to go to the specialized provincial schools?
I could talk about that in a way for me personally, because my son Cole, he was actually at EC Jury, and we brought him to, I was about to say Peel, but I work for Peel. Sorry, Halton, and he wasn't fully ASL because he chose to use his voice. He's very good at using his voice. But for those others that were full ASL, if it's easier for them if they went to mainstream. For my son, he went to a life skills program. So it is depending upon the technology that they wear and where they are at in their learning pathways.
So I think we've got Conan, who is able to add a little bit into that.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much said what I was going to say. We're very blessed in our school board to have EC Jury within our catchment area. and they're able to, we're one of the few school boards that are privileged to have a school like that within our catchment area. We work really closely with them in terms of ASL. Lots of students, we do integrate students directly into the class and do our very, very best through our DHH to support students who primarily use ASL. But we certainly work closely with EC Drury, and we have a lot of students who do access that program and will go there full time. And it really depends on the student if we feel it's appropriate for them and the families are supportive of that. So it really is, to answer your question, Kate, it's really is partially driven by the family, but we do our best to support and integrate fully with ASL. And if we do need to access EC Drury or have a student attend EC Drury, that's what we do.
And this may be a very difficult to answer question, but do you find in general that the children who choose to, and families who choose to remain in the regular classroom, that they manage to integrate with their peers if they're primarily operating in ASL? What support do they get for peer interaction within the regular classroom if they primarily communicate via ASL?
Can I answer that?
Oh, sure. Go ahead first, and then I'll jump in.
Okay. So I know somebody personally that is was fully ASL, communicated fully ASL, and came into EC Drury. But they chose to use their voice with them, so they kind of knew to use ASL with those who are deaf, and ASL for those who are hearing. Others, they may have an interpreter following them around depending on if they're fully ASL. I know some, but I'm not sure if they went to the public or Catholic, the Catholic that came from EC Drury. But I hope that helps on my end anyways. Based on the personal part. I don't know about the other part.
Yeah, I mean, like American Sign Language is a language, and it's very similar to students who, might speak a language other than English who arrive and don't speak any English. And the service, it's a different scenario, but it's a similar type of process where using various technologies, leveraging the supports we have. We do have certain interpreters, certain DHH understanding of ASL. We service them the best we can in terms of integrating them with their students. When applicable, certain students can certainly learn certain simple sign languages that we try and incorporate that inclusivity with the class. But it really is like leveraging the technology and the people and the resources and the people power that we have. Very similar to how we would leverage in terms of a student who, comes with a different language as well.
Any other questions? Aaron.
Not a question, just to echo what Kathy said, to say thank you to all of you for your hard work in supporting our kids, because you do a lot, and it's very much appreciated.
And I would also like to thank you. It's not a world that I have a lot of experience with, but I can imagine unique challenges, and it's wonderful that there is a team that is there to support, and to see how many students you support is quite amazing. So thank you very much. And we look forward to hearing in the future about how your work continues. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Okay, at this point, we're going to be moving on to item number 2.3. And we're going to be circling back to the discussion that we started last month on CX thoughts about the Halton District School Board budget. So we're going to be separating out into breakout groups for a more fulsome discussion about reflections we might have had since that meeting last time. But I think Colette's going to perhaps be able to give us a bit of an update on some of the ways in which the Special Education Department is evaluating programs to be able to decide where funding adjustments might need to be made, so that can maybe inform our discussion.
Thanks, Allison. So just maybe a little bit of a summary, very high level of what Roxana spoke to last month, our superintendent of business services. So she highlighted that we are facing a $7.7 million shortfall due to a number of changes around how the ministry is funding school boards. We are also facing a shortfall in our transportation services, again, due to some changes around how the ministry is funding transportation. And so this is having us as an entire system looking at our services, our staffing models, and looking for savings, looking for efficiencies. And at the same time, also recognizing that we have some emerging needs that we also need to address. So we're looking to find these efficiencies and find these savings across our board, across our system, across all of our departments, to make sure that we have a balanced budget. Effective in the September 2024 budget, we can no longer operate any kind of deficit. So we used to always be able to offer a small deficit in our budget and still be compliant. With new legislation, that flexibility has been removed. So we have to be at a completely balanced budget or seek permission from the ministry to draw on our reserves. And so this, again, has us looking at our work across the board. The process for consultation is opening up through a survey that will be emailed to parents, to students, to staff, as well as open on our website to any member of the public. And we really do encourage everyone to contribute to that budget survey. We want to hear from you around what are the important priorities to protect, as well as any ideas around efficiencies or perhaps some things that were once priorities but no longer are. So that survey, as I say, is going live, and it will close towards the end of February. So there's a good 3 weeks to submit your feedback. And then that feedback will be collated and will inform the final budget decisions, as well as any new monies that may come, because we are, of course, operating in predictions right now because we don't get the GSN until the spring. So last month we talked about in special education, having highlighted that we spend $17 million approximately over the allocated amount for special education from the ministry envelopes. And so we are definitely taking a good hard look and trying to consider what programs are no longer viable, what programs perhaps are no longer needed because the service is being delivered in different ways. So we know that the need is still there, but we may be delivering the service in a different way, as well as resizing some of our programs. So looking at the regulations and where we have flexibility to potentially increase some class sizes. So those are some of the things that we have been looking at while ensuring that we continue to deliver excellent service to our students, strong supports for our families, and ensuring that students have what they need to get the learning out of the classroom.
Okay, so I think what we're going to do is go into some breakout rooms. But before we do that, do you want to do a round table, or do we just go straight into the breakout rooms, do you think? Is there anything pressing that anybody would like to raise for the floor before we break into little groups and kind of throw this around a bit? So, yeah. Amanda.
I was just late for roll call. I just wanted to say I'm here.
Okay, great. We've got you. Thank you. It's like being a register. We've got to get your register thing done. Anybody with any questions or comments or thoughts before we start to move into breakout sessions? Okay, so as we set up the breakout rooms, I guess what we really need to consider is, as Colette said, is, what's gone really well to such an extent that perhaps we don't need it anymore. If things are like, if there are those things, are there things that we think we maybe could do differently? That might be more cost-effective way of doing them. And then, are there things that as a group we hold sacred and must be part of our recommendation going forward? So it's really kind to look at all the different levels of what is offered, knowing that we can't have it all, much as we would love to. Unfortunately, that isn't the way that the system is set up at this point in time. So as our role as advisory committee members, we're here to provide whatever advice we can in the best interest of all exceptional students. So please consider, all groups, and we'll try and make constructive suggestions to the trustees and administration about our thoughts, so that we can make the best out of what is not a great situation for anybody here. So, okay, so we're going to be going into breakout rooms, and we will see you in there. Okay, we're back live now, so thank you, everybody. So we just went into some breakout rooms to try and talk through understanding how the budget is created, how and potentially suggest ideas. The breakout group that we were in, we raised a couple of ideas, not necessarily sure that we came to any conclusion on them, but they're worth at least looking at, potentially looking at clustering programs, obviously recognizing that there's an offset there with transportation, needing to make sure that there's equity of access. What else did we look at? We looked at, wait, does that mean what we talked about? Oh, IT, we talked about potentials for IT savings on IT. Are there anything from the other group that they'd like to share with the main group?
Sure, I can speak a bit to that, and
Great.
The group's welcome to jump in case I misspeak or misrepresent any comments. So we mostly talked about life skills in the CPP program. There was a lot of discussion around the importance of those programs in particular. I think it was more just a case of that's what we first talked about and that ended up being most of our time, but that was the focus of the importance of those classes, and even looking at creative solutions to make sure that we honor and respect and maintain those classes. There was a conversation just around staff retention and looking at just the cost. Sorry, can you still hear me? Sorry, my bad. There we go. Sorry, a double speaker on. Looking at just the piece around staff retention and the cost of different mental health pieces for staff and staff being awesome, and the cost to the government and the school board in terms of teachers on leave and whatnot. So looking at ways that we can support staff mental health to reduce costs on that. We had a very brief discussion just around transportation and getting creative on that and looking at clustering different types of transportation. What else did we say? We talked a little bit about the deaf, hard, and hearing and how beneficial that is and the equipment that is required for that. So maintaining some of them, keeping some of that technology that's in the class. And I think that's all that I've written down for our group so far. I don't know if anyone wants to jump in or if I misspoke for anyone.
Yeah, is there anything else anybody would like to add? As we said, this is very much preliminary. It's just giving us an idea to share some thoughts, knowing that we are not experts in the programs. As Colette explained, that there's no specific target that we have to meet. But just that everybody in all departments within the school board are looking for whatever savings can be made to ensure that the system is run as efficiently and effectively as possible while meeting all students' needs. So anything anybody would like to add before we move on? Oh, Colette.
Can I just maybe comment on the comment around that it's preliminary. These conversations are preliminary. So we are in fact bound by some timelines for staffing. Our secondary staffing starts the first week of March. Our secondary staffing starts the first week of March. Elementary starts a few weeks after that. So while the budget actually doesn't, the GSN doesn't get released until April, maybe May sometimes, and the budget doesn't get approved till June, we have to start making some decisions in a bit of a vacuum. And we have to make those decisions on a kind of a very cautious front, because if we don't follow the staffing timelines, that ties our hand on those decisions. So we are going to be making some preliminary decisions towards the end of February, once the survey closes, and then we get more money back from the ministry than we expect. We can revisit those decisions, but if we don't follow the staffing timeline process now, then it ties our hands later.
So what I'm hearing, if I'm right, is that by our next meeting, you'll be able to present some thoughts on what is probably going to be shelved, put on the back burner, with the hopes that future money may come to be able to reopen them. Is that right?
It all depends on the timelines that Business Services sets out. So if that works with their timelines, then yes, I will do that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions at this point? Aaron.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that there's a survey going out, and that's on all aspects of education. Is there a subset of it dealing with special education?
Yeah, the survey is very high level, and some of it is open text where you can just provide general input. Others, it's a list of areas. Special education would be one of them. If you want to identify priorities for spending, for example. So it's a combination of tell us what you think are some reductions we can make. Tell us what you think are the priorities for spending, what's important, what's not important. I think it's three or four questions, so it's kind of big questions together.
Oh, okay. Will we get any kind of insight into what the results of that are, or any feedback on that? Like at SEAC, I mean.
So it gets collated, and it is part of the budget presentation that Roxana shares with SEAC in June.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At this point, we will move on. We're now at item, so just to clarify, we're at item number, oh gosh, I've lost my page now. I think it's 3.0, which is any questions? Are there any questions at this time related to other things? There were two questions raised by the public. One was a detailed question on the budget that's been responded to by that team. The other relates to the name of the learning disabilities self-contained class that is going to be covered in this superintendent's report. So at this point in time, are there any other questions that members of SEAC would like to raise? Catherine.
It's not a question. I have to go pick up my son from Scouts, but I'll lower my hand. I just want to say thank you, Avery, for the opportunity to be on the SEAC committee. Sorry, I can't speak right now. For some of you know, but not all of you, I'll be moving to a different province near the end of the month to New Brunswick. So I just want to thank you for every opportunity for me to represent boys, as well as thank you to Aaron. And I wish you all the best for all the students in Halton and advising and everything like that. So thank you again.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Catherine. You've been a great advocate for your community and for all kids with exceptionalities. So thank you very much. And we wish you all the best in New Brunswick, which by the sounds of it is pretty snowy out there at the moment. So take your shovel with you.
It is, and my kids are very excited because they get to go sledding, finally.
Well, have a wonderful time.
Thank you so much, and all the best to you. I'm going to log off for the very last time with the SEAC committee, so thank you.
Great, thank you. So now we're at item 4.0, communications to SEAC, and we start with the superintendent's report.
Thank you. So first I'd like to welcome Aaron Rupel. Aaron is from the OPVIC, Ontario Parents of Vision Impaired Children. This is a new association that has joined SEAC, and we are really pleased to have this new association and to have Aaron as a part of our group. So welcome, Aaron. I did share this in the email that was sent out on Friday around the anti-sex trafficking session, and I regret to say it's completely full, but it speaks to the need in the community. That's coming up on February 15th. It actually sold out, I think, within a matter of hours. So they are looking at planning some additional sessions because we do want to respond to the full need in the community. To learn about this, a very important topic. So more to come on that, but the February 15th session's full. Tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, we have our Sports Festival Day. Conan, I don't know if I can put you on the spot and talk a little bit about what that is.
Oh, sorry, I'm on now. All right, so we are proud to present, starting tomorrow, the Sports Festival of more than 375 special needs students at the Milton Velodrome. It is organized, or we're doing in conjunction with the Special Olympics Ontario, which we're very happy to partner with, which is great. It really is a fun, engaging day, non-competitive, in order to get many of our special needs students involved in sports and have access to sports. There'll be lots of families there, lots of staff there. We have all kinds of volunteer students who are coming from Irma Colson School to help with that. We've done it last year. It was a very successful event, tremendous success. Community loved it, and we're looking forward to having it again. We'll even have some media there too as well to cover the event. So thanks very much. Look forward to seeing many of you there.
Don't turn your mic off. The budget survey I've already spoken about. And then the last piece is the self-contained LD and life skills name change update.
Absolutely. So that is in process. So I'll give an update on that to the committee. So a survey went out through two of my instructional program leaders. The survey first went to Halton staff in terms of self-contained teachers, educational assistants, some admin, and some special education resource teachers. We have compiled a list of names just internally from staff. What you will see SEAC members next week, and also that will include families of students of special needs and a lot of those self-contained classes. The survey will go towards the middle of next week. That'll include a list of suggested names for both life skills and learning disabilities. For those who weren't at the last couple of meetings, we are looking at changing the names. Well, we are going to change the names of those two classes to look at more inclusive names. So a survey will go out where there'll be a list of names already suggested there, which you can identify if you like one of those names, or if you have a new name to suggest, you can bring that name forward. We're going to finalize the list of names and then bring it forward in time for April for the updated special education plan, in order to be able to present to SEAC what new names we're going to propose for September of 2024.
And can we share that survey with SEAC when it goes out to parents, so that SEAC can also have a voice? That'd be great.
Yeah. Members of the SEAC will get the exact same survey that goes to parents. So we are going to, Marta will send that survey directly next week to all members of SEAC.
Great, and I just want to say thank you so much. I know that it will be a welcome change. Thank you very much. Okay, does anybody have any questions for Colette? No? Okay. So are there any association reports at this time? Jennifer.
Thank you. Autism Ontario just wanted to remind everyone about Celebrate the Spectrum that's coming up. Schools can download the toolkits, they can participate Giving Challenge, and there's also the opportunity to fly a flag. And all of that information is available on the Autism Ontario website.
Great, thank you. And when is that?
You're putting me on the spot, and I cannot give you an exact date, but that is imminent.
Okay, great. Was it Melissa who had her hand up next?
Yep. Hi there. Just wanted to say from Easter Seals that our annual Red Shirt Day is fast approaching. It is the end of May, May 29th. A letter is going to be shared with the director of the school board to request that some information be sent out board-wide to highlight the Day for Accessibility and Inclusiveness as sponsored by the Easter Seals Association. So more information to come, but the end of May, National Accessibilities Week is from May 26th to June 2nd, I believe. But it's actually May 29th that we're asking everyone to show their solidarity for accessibility by wearing a red shirt. So more info to come, but that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Kate.
Hi, I'm sorry to do this, but I'm literally getting emails from people while we were in this meeting, and I have a quick question for Colette. I'm getting messaging that there's a lot of reorganization of classes of self-contained that have been told to parents, including shifting some of the splitting of classes I was already aware of in Oakville, and now the elementary gifted they're being removed from their classmates in Oakville and shifted to Baudouin. Is that a new change, or is that a parent misunderstanding?
That would be a misunderstanding. We haven't done our elementary staffing at all yet, so no decisions have been made about any class locations or class changes.
I will get in touch with you offline about that then. Thank you very much.
Okay, was it Dina who had a question?
No, I just had some information to share.
Great.
So Community Living Burlington, with collaboration with Central West, is doing SIP shops once a month for kids with siblings with special needs. So it is a SIP shop program that we're doing. So it's once a month. I'll send you the flyer. And if there's any families that might be interested, it's for kids from 7 to 14. And you would just register.
Great, thank you. Melissa?
I had a specific question for Nadina. Those went virtual with COVID. My other son used to go and loved them, but they've been virtual for the last few years. Are they back in person?
We are back in person. I think they were looking at potentially doing some hybrid, but right now they're all like with an option of hybrid or in person. Right now we just started, and they are in person as of now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I will make some announcements for the Centre for Diverse Learners to let everybody know that tomorrow, I believe, we're running a workshop on psych eds and how to get one, so that you can access that through our website in the events. We also have coming up at the 1st and 2nd of March, we have our 13th annual Solutions for Learning conference. Some amazing speakers, and we'd really love to see as many people out there supporting the inclusion of neurodiverse individuals in education. And then finally, just to let everybody know, if they don't already, that at the end of the month, I am moving on from my role as Executive Director at the Centre for Diverse Learners. I'll be moving into another position in our Diverse Learners family. So we have a new ED who will be co-hosting with me at the conference. Very excited about that. We have Carolyn Rankin-Boutin, who is an educator, a neurodiverse individual themselves, who is an entrepreneur, who's also worked in the non-profit industry and is a passionate champion for the cause. So really proud that we have Carolyn on board. I can just see CDL going from strength to strength. So come along and meet her at our conference. Okay, any other association reports? Nope. Okay. Trustee report.
Hi, this is Xin Yizhan. First, I would like to thank everyone who presented the great ideas today and share your opinions on special education needs and budgets. So I heard the question about the how the board operate the special education programs and what the detailed number of the budgets. So if you like to see the details, and I will recommend you can find the board meeting. There are two meetings on June 7th and June 21st. There are two meetings last year, so you can find the two meeting agenda, and there one meeting has a special education report, and the other meeting has a budget for this school year. So you can find a lot of details in those two reports. And so I know a lot of people from the community. They like to watch our committee meeting and the board meetings. A lot of people are watching online. And starting tomorrow, in February. This year in February, March, and April, our board meeting schedule changed. So we will start a public meeting at 6 p.m. So if you like to continue to watch our board meeting, don't miss the board meeting real-time streaming at 6 p.m. starting tomorrow. This is only for the next 3 months, starting this month, 3 months. And yesterday, February 5th, 2024, HDSB sent out the community an email seeking inputs about the 2024-2025 budget. It is an opportunity for the board to hear the priorities you believe on this important matter. So the online survey will be open until February 26th by 4 p.m. So this is an opportunity to everybody can put your feedback, and we are listening your voice. If you have any questions about the board meeting schedules and the committee meeting schedules and the online survey links, board reports, and other questions, you are very welcome to contact the committee members, trustee members here for this committee, or also you can contact your local trustees. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for trustee? Okay, so we're now at item 4.4, which is the committee reports. For our standing committees, we have the Accessibility and Coordinating Committee, Evelyn. We obviously had a great presentation today from Ken Child, which you recommended last time. Anything new from you to report?
From the committee, no. Excuse me, I'm actually meeting with them, I think it's in a week or two. So nothing since the last meeting.
Great.
Thank you for your comments about the CanChal presentation. They're a wonderful team, and I highly encourage anyone to connect with them, or like I said, Adina and I, to support their journey. It's been really, really tremendous with our work.
Great, brilliant. Thank you very much. And I don't believe that Kate is here. Kate Lambert. Oh, no, you are Kate Lambert. Yeah, sorry. Mental Health and Wellbeing Strategy Steering and Advisory Committee, the long
the next meeting is at the end of February, so I will update you next time I see you.
Okay, that's great. So at item 5.0, next agenda and order paper, is there anything particular that anybody would like to have seen, or like to see on the agenda? We're trying to organize sex trafficking, anti-sex trafficking. We're trying to arrange anti-bullying presentations. Structured literacy programming, as that relates to regular classrooms, but also into other classrooms with higher needs. So those things that we have on the agenda, bearing in mind that we also have the Spec Ed plan coming and the budget coming as well. So quite a lot of work to do in the last few months. It's amazing that it's only a few more months, but last few months of the school year. But if there's anything that anybody would like to see on an agenda, please either raise it at the meetings or feel free to reach out, and we can look at putting it on a future agenda. We are also hoping to have Autism Ontario come and present about their work.
We should be ready. Thank you, Alison.
Brilliant. That's great. Thank you. So are there any other questions or comments at this time? Well, before I adjourn the meeting, I just would like to say one thing, which I didn't say at the beginning, but for everybody celebrating Black History and Black Excellence Month, I'd just like to honor that. And to thank the contributions of the many people in the Black community who make our society a better place. And we hope you enjoy the celebration of this month. With that being said, it is now 8:50, and I will adjourn the meeting.